It was a beautiful spring day in Tennessee, and I headed out to Montgomery Bell State Park for my very first backpacking trip and a little over 10-mile hike. We'd gone to Montgomery Bell State Park a couple of weeks ago, and I put a video up about it, and there was a comment on the video from the couch burners. I'd talked about in the video going to overnight camp there alone, and couch burner said, watch out for the werewolf. What you don't want when you're in the woods by yourself is to think about a werewolf. So thanks a lot, couch burners. We're hiking the White Trail. Let's go. Trail. Quarter mile in, already hit an obstacle. Flooded trail. So we'll go around it. Hey, I've been here before. We'll stay on the White Trail. Across the road here. So I'm doing the White Trail, which we did not do the last time we were here. But I thought this would be a great trail to start with on doing overnight backpacking. So it's my first one. I've never done this, and I've definitely never done it alone. So we'll see. I'm staying at the Wildcat Shelter, and we'll see if I make it the whole night. I'm going to do 9 miles and then 1 mile out in the morning. So if tonight doesn't go as planned, i.e. I get scared and freak myself out, I will hike another mile in the dark and get in my truck and go home, but I don't think that's going to happen. Hopefully the first of many trips. Hopefully no rattlesnakes or copperheads either. Use my poles. Gonna try those. So, I'll shut up and hike 9 miles. So that's the Spillway Trail, which we hiked the last time when we were here. And then this just goes across. Emily and I have done the ore pit loop, which goes this way, and that's also the White Trail. We did that the last time we were here, and I'm just going to cut those miles out. So I'm going to get a little vitamin D, walk up this road to this little church, get back on the ore pit trail, which is also the White Trail, and cut a few miles out that I've already done. No sense in doing it again. I would come out right there if I'd made that other loop and wound up on here anyway. We had a lot of rain 2 nights ago, So a lot of the trail is swampy. It's actually a little creek running through this one. Pretty little stream we're walking beside. Hillside is covered with ferns. So you come out of the woods into a cemetery and go back into the woods. I'm not going to stay in the cemetery. Really not that brave. And they built us a bridge. I guess if it's really hot, you can go swim. So I think this is a Springs, and then there's another shelter, something Springs. I think it's, you could stay here, but there's all this laid rock around here, which must mean that there's a spring coming out somewhere right here, because you can see the water rising up right there. And there's nothing behind it. Pretty cool. And the trail in this section is not marked at all that I can tell. So I'm literally following the GPS. It's definitely a spring though. So hopefully I'll start seeing trail markers again before too long. It's around here somewhere. Okay, I walked down there in those kind of marshy area, and there is a trail that goes down to the lake, but I don't think it's right. The GPS took me down there, but it was very growed up. There was definitely a trail. So I'm at Hall Springs Shelter. So I'm way up here. That takes me down to Lake Woodhaven. But I'm going to stay on this bigger trail here because there were no markings or anything down there, so I'm going to see if this is a better way to go. It looks a little more well-traveled. We'll see. Okay, I'm not going to cross that. I guess that goes over to the springs, so I'm hiking along. So I'm back on the big trail, and you can see there's the springs kind of running beside me. So I'm glad I didn't go the other way. But I'm on the white trail again. I see white trail blazes. Makes me happy. The springs were pretty. And then I think all this feeds the lake. Oh, there's a butterfly. Walking alongside this creek. So you can start to see the lake through the woods. I think I'm about halfway. Yeah, 4.8 miles. I'm not quite halfway, but I'm gonna sit here for a minute. There's big fish, I can see them. The next stop will be the Woodland Shelter. I don't know if you can see that giant fish right there. There's several fish right there, but there's one great big one, a couple of big ones. So I'm at the Woodland Shelter Junction. So I was at the Hall Springs shelter, I went to the lake, now I'm here. I'm not gonna hike up to that shelter, it's just right up the woods here. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish. I'm well over halfway. I mean, it's like almost 5, I guess. I wanna go ahead and get there earlier rather than later. One more lake, Creech Hollow Lake, and then I'll be walking behind the golf course near the railroad tracks. There's a cemetery supposedly up here. There's the railroad and then the main highway, and then I'm trying to get to Wildcat Shelter at the 3rd lake, and then I parked here. So tomorrow morning I'll hike out there about a mile. Just came down that way. I'm going this way to Wildcat Hollow because that's where my shelter is for tonight. The parking area from here is 5.4 miles, so I guess technically this is the halfway point, but it's not halfway from where I'm going tonight. And then back over here is the lake. You can take this trail and go back to Creech Hollow Lake. I'm not going to do that either because I've been to that lake before. But I am going to sit down here for a minute and get a Cliff Bar out and eat it to prepare for my final sojourn. So I'm behind the golf course now. Been hiking up this road. It's like a service road. Making a little bit of better time on the service road. Back to it. This is the first snake I've seen. I don't even know what kind of snake that is. There's also, you can see the railroad up here. It's kind of way up there above me. I wish a train would come by. So, came out of the little service road. I guess this is a back entrance that's not open. End of the dirt road. Back onto the dirt. Several little stream crossings here. I've crossed like 4 in the last little bit. Just keep kind of winding along different streams. And I think they all wind up where I'm going and dump into the lake near the Wildcat Shelter. And I'm almost there. Very close right now. The Wildcat Shelter. It's my humble abode at the junction of 2 streams on the Montgomery Bell Trail. Alright, And I have to set up my tent inside the shelter. They said everything has to be inside the shelter. So I'll work on that next. So I got to my shelter. I had talked to my wife, and as I got to the shelter, there was a makeshift camp, a sleeping bag and some sundry items. It looked like a mobile meth lab. Was left in the shelter by someone, and I just talked to Emily, and I kind of freaked myself out and almost abandoned ship at this point. I almost said, I am not staying out here in the woods with a crackhead neighbor who might show up at any hour of the day or night and want to be my friend or my enemy. And I almost talked myself out of leaving and got in my own head a little bit that it was about to get dark and I'm out here in the woods by myself. And Emily had already told me I was going to be murdered. And at that point, I thought, well, maybe she's right. I am about to be murdered. I decided to be a man and stick it out. So I put my tent up. All right, I'm all set up, ready for bed. One thing that's semi-concerning is there's a makeshift something. Looks like somebody lives here. I hope they don't come. If they do, I guess I'll have a friend. Now we're right on the water, so I got to go down and go get some water. Now the lake is just right over there, and this stream dumps into the lake. I've switched into my camp clothes as well. Got the Crocs, baby. They feel better than those shoes that I did have on. That's for sure. I guess if I want to go swimming, you could go swimming. And then tomorrow, I get to cross that and go that way to get out. I thought I was just going to go that way. Guess not. All right, let me get some water. Gathered up a little wood. We'll see if I can get a fire started. I highly doubt it. By the way, wood is wet, and I'm not good at starting fires. So, but we'll try. We'll try to burn. If we can get those going, we'll try to burn those. If we can't, I don't care. I'll just go to bed. Time to cook some dinner. It's about to get dark, so I've got my headlamp on, but I've got a major flaw in the slaw. So I've got beef pasta marinara. It's cooked and ready to roll. I went to get my spork out. No spork. I have a checklist. I've gone through the bag. I've packed. How I got here with I have no utensil to eat with. So what I do have is a toilet trowel. I've never used it to dig a toilet with. So I've cleaned it off with a wipe. And I'm gonna eat my beef pasta marinara with a toilet trowel. How's that? Alright, we're gonna see if we can get a fire started. I am notoriously bad at starting fires, but I'm gonna try to burn up some of my trash and try to get it going. We'll see. Now, surprisingly, this fire came together pretty well. The wood was kind of wet. Did not stop Dino. Fire complete. Got a fire going. Now we got the macanudo. We're going to smoke a cigar. Might drink some tequila. Now, after eating a giant bag of food with a toilet trowel, and then sitting beside a campfire and smoking a giant cigar and drinking some tequila, that is not recommended when you're in your woods by yourself. I'm a big, strong man, and I'm like, I'm going to be out in the woods. I'm going to smoke a cigar and sit and drink, and I'm going to fight off demons and sit by the fire. Well, I sat by the fire for a long time, and I smoked this giant cigar, and I promptly vomited up my entire sack full of food. I went to go, The fire burned down. I went to roll over and go over to my tent. I sat down in front of my tent to get in it, and Dino not feel so good. I walked over to the side, I upchucked, and then I went to bed. Survived. Slept pretty well. And it looks like my buddy never came as well, which is good. All alone. Alright, all packed up. Before we leave, let's walk over to Lake Acorn. I think it's just right up here. I saw it reflecting last night. So that little stream runs right down through here into the lake. And back on the white trail. Alright, it's my first campsite. Could have been worse. Time to go home. There's some kind of bike race going on. The trail ends and it's spitting me off at the information center. My truck's right over there. Survived. First trip into the wilderness alone. I'm basically ready to go. I'm basically ready to go on the show alone right now. I mean, that's how confident I am in my abilities. So I'm gonna go home now and put in my application and probably go to Alaska for 30 days.